Hello and welcome back to the U Up Podcast. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana, virtually. We're out of the studio.
Virtually, it's always, it's day before Thanksgiving. It's Thanksgiving Eve, as we've said on our last episode.
Yes.
And it's always good to see the green pillows of your parents' pool house. It feels like home to me.
Well, now people can see it on YouTube.
Yeah.
People can see that I'm in the pool house. Hello, YouTube land. Get subscribed to our YouTube channel, and you can see. Yeah, I mean, I'm in Boca, which I just vent for a second.
As you do. That's what the audience wants.
Right. It is at an 11. Boca is at an 11 right now, and I think it's because the pandemic, this is the first, real deal. No one gives a shit unless they're out of their minds about COVID anymore. And yes, I'm saying that freely. Someone texted me the other day that they got COVID, and they were like, "When will this ever end?" And I was like, looking around,
over.
It's done, kid.
No,
You're living in a reality that I am not living in. So this place,
it's never going to get any better than this.
Right.
This is also the thing. Yeah.
This is the land. Right. That's the best way to put it, Jordana. You're right.
Yeah.
I just think I am in Boca. The conversations, the complaints. I walked in. What is that new show? The Fleischmans with Jesse, the guy that played Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh, Jesse Eisenberg.
Jesse Eisenberg was on TV on a morning show. My dad's looking at him being like, "What is this guy? What is this guy? Look at this guy. Look at the way he sits." And I was like, I got to get out of here. And then
even the watching of morning shows is very,
right.
Right.
Boomer. I forgot to bring the plug for my Zoom recorder, which is behind the scenes nonsense that no one cares about, but I forgot to bring batteries. I'm like, "Mom, do you have batteries?" She's like, she opens the fridge to get batteries. I'm like, of course. Where else would they be?
I'm confused, though. You're saying it's an 11, like an 11 in terms of, I thought you were like, it's so great. It's an 11.
It is great, but it's an 11. It's the most Boca it could be.
Complainy,
the spatial awareness. Everyone just, for whatever reason, strangers feel comfortable being on top of you. People come up to you like they know you 1,000 years. I was overhearing a conversation. This guy, you hear horrific conversations said very matter-of-factly. This guy was like, "Yeah, she can only open her eyes for an hour a day, and I don't know how we're gonna get rid of the car." And you're like, "What?"
I mean, that's the issue. We talk about the benefits of living in this kind of community. The issue with this kind of community is everyone's too friendly.
Right. And too comfy. There's because most of the people here are Jewish. So there's this I know you already without there's a comfortability that's too comfortable.
Yeah.
Totally. It is just unbelievable. And my mom's my mom's coffee order she just gave me.
Jews can get like that.
Oh my God. It is. It is.
I went to get my flu shot the other day, I think. And the doctor or whatever, I don't know if she was an actual doctor. The person giving the shot she was like, "Jordana, is that a Jewish name?" I'm like, "Just give me the shot."
Right. We don't have to do this.
That's the first Abraham. That was the first Jew. I'm sure you're aware. Just give me the shot.
We don't have to do this. We don't know each other.
I don't want to do this. Yes.
Right. I didn't go to camp with your friend. Get out of here.
We're not sisters.
Yeah, you want to just shove their face. I didn't go to camp with your friends. We didn't go to temple together. Move. I got to go home.
Just give me the shot.
Yeah. And it's comfortable, but it's stressful at the same time. I don't know if that makes sense. I just saw a golf cart with 6 Jews hanging off of it like it was Mad Max. It's like
wow, it's like spring break over there. I guess it must be,
is.
Right? Because everyone's kids are in for Thanksgiving, right?
Well, that's the other thing. It's a nicer community. So everyone here is a big shot. Everyone here is in their own right. Okay. My dad describes when you go for golf, it's 4 people playing golf, 4 different golf carts. No one wants to sit together. I'll go in my golf cart. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like everyone's excited their family's here while also angry that anyone else's family is here.
Right.
So it's wild because it's like, oh, the gym is packed. And it's like, yeah, but you're with your kid. You should understand it was going to be packed. It's crazy that I'm relaxed and stressed at the same time anytime I'm here.
That's how I feel whenever I go home. More stressed than relaxed, but I kind of see what you're saying. It's like all your old, because home is where all your like neuroses live. That's where your like childhood things that you've learned, you've managed to like unlearn as you've left the house, now pull you back in. They're like, you're not better than us. You're one of us.
Absolutely. I mean, it happened earlier today. Again, back to the comfortability thing. I'm outside the gym. My dad, he's always lurking. My dad is the sidler. You know, he's always around the corner. And then we have a thing in my family where we make a clicking noise if someone's nearby. Like I know, so I hear, so I know that's him. And I do it, and he turns to me, and I go, and we start talking, and this guy comes up, and he comes up and he goes, "You guys look like twins." And my dad goes, "Yeah, they say, what do they say about the apple and the tree?" You know, they're like, oh, they sound like Lenny Bruce. And he's like, "Oh, yeah, it's the DNA." And then the guy's like, "Well, my kid looks like me, and my daughter looks like my wife." And then my dad goes, "Well, worst thing about it is my son has my body." And I...
Oh, my God. You're standing right there.
And I'm here. I'm standing there, and
it'd be weird if you had your mother's body.
A little weird, okay? He goes, we're the same body type. That sucks for him. And at this moment, like, I could take my dad's subtle rib. Like, I know what I know, and just like you said, like the insecurities, all the things from your childhood. And I'm like, I could take that. But then when you're here, there's this other comfortability that I just talked about. And I look to the other guy, and his eyes are lighting up, like as if like, have at him. like I'm like waiting for his comment about my body. And the guy goes, "What are you talking about?" And then my dad goes, "What do you mean?" And I go, "I gotta leave." I left. I ran away. I literally sprinted. Yeah. I was like, "I gotta go." And they're like, "What?" I must look crazy, but I know. And it's like I know all these insecurities that exist here, and I know to run away from them. So I just look crazy.
It's too much social interaction. That would give me a lot of anxiety. The best part of this kind of holiday is like not having to perform. It sounds like you kind of have to perform, right?
Oh my God.
For anyone you're seeing on the course or whatever.
Lights, camera, action. I mean, There's a woman here who I went on a date with randomly that happens to live here.
Did she see you?
No, she sees my dad everywhere. My dad's always asking about, they know each other better than I know her.
Wow.
We went on one date, and so
Twins.
I gotta hear. So now every time they come in contact, my dad goes, "I saw your friend." Now I gotta like answer to that.
Oh, and you know my friend who
I know your friend. Well, her parents are very nice.
If you're listening, Chelsea.
If you're listening, I'm a big fan. The whole family, very nice.
That's great.
But the thing is, I love characters. I love characters. Like I enjoy.
Yeah, it sounds like you're at fucking Disney World. So many characters. Character breakfast.
That's what it is here. It's the Jewish character breakfast. The grandma, the bubby, the Zadie, the
characters come around.
They come around. You gotta have them sign your book. You gotta talk to them.
That's very funny.
It is. I can't explain. Like I can explain it to you because there's a level of like you have to like. I hope this isn't wasting the listeners' time. Because I'm just in the play, and then like you're single. I have shows here this weekend. People are coming. They
great.
come up.
You sell? Are they buying tickets to the shows?
Some of them. My mom goes. My mom. She's like, everyone's coming. You better be good. That's what she says to me.
Everyone's coming. Okay.
Everyone. Which means like three people.
It sounds like. Have you ever seen Dirty Dancing?
It's a little Dirty Dance. Yes, it's very much like that, like a new age version of it. It's very Seinfeld. It's very like, and I enjoy it. Well, my brother's not here. At least I could laugh with my brother when he's here.
He's not coming?
He's not. He's got to work.
Oh, wow.
So it's just me.
Just you.
Kid. Yeah. Like I'm an only child.
Interesting.
So that's what's going on in your life. Where are you doing Thanksgiving?
We're doing Thanksgiving at Mike's parents'. It's going to be great.
That's great.
I go, I sit, I wait until they're done cleaning, and then I ask if there's anything I can help with. And that's
the perfect grind.
The perfect situation. It's
nice to be a side character. Like it's nice to be like a bit part. You get your one line. Like I taped a pilot, and I had one line in a pilot. I told you about this, right?
Yeah.
So I had one line. I had to say it 7,000 times. That's how I want to be on a pilot. That's how I want to be at Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
One line. I don't want to be the main character.
Low expectations. Well, now that's the issue with your brother being gone is like it's and they see each other every day, so they haven't seen you in a while. So now you are by default.
Oh my God.
The character. It's a one-man show.
My mom literally, I'm like, my apartment, my mom wants me to move out of my apartment. She doesn't like my apartment. I go, well, I like it. She goes, it's small. Who can you bring home there? Who would go home to your apartment?
How are you going to start a family in that apartment? Obviously, in a studio apartment.
I go, it's in a great neighborhood. I live in the West Village. I was like, it's a great neighborhood. I enjoy it. I'm comfortable. Oh, you don't want to move out because you're lazy. And it's like, where did that come out of this? Yes, like, I'm lazy, and I like my apartment.
Yeah, you also are not in your apartment that much, right?
She has constantly. This is what moms do. Moms will just say things with no, like, she's talking as if money doesn't exist, like as if there's no, like, she's like, my mom will be like, if I was like, I'm gonna move.
I remember.
Like, remember?
Is there free parking?
Is there free parking? That's what she asked about my new apartment in New York. Hey, I found an apartment. Is there butler service? What?
Where's the I don't know. What's the sauna?
Right.
But I mean, I wonder, just because, for you, I wonder, and to make this to go back to dating on this, to break your experience, but when you go home, is there any sort of anxiety that you have ever felt around like answering to your dating situation, or absolutely none?
Absolutely none, but I do now at 37. My dad, this is another conversation that happened. And it goes, what about the women? What's going on? The thing is, the conversation is very low stakes for me. So I do imagine, what if I were a woman having these conversations, how... Like, in the way that I have to run away from two grown adults because my body comes up, like, I would...
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
That's what it would have... I do empathize with that feeling of, like, I know it's coming. They're circling the waters of this topic. Like, I hear... When body conversations are coming up, I can hear them coming from 10 miles away. I can hear donna. Why are you eating? Like it's like.
And the way you feel about that conversation is probably like so parallel to the dating conversation, because it's a thing where you're kind of like, if you're going home and you're single, you're kind of like, I already know and think about this thing constantly.
Right.
And now it kind of feels like the judgment day has come.
Come in. We want receipts. We want to know what you've been working on.
Yeah.
This last year.
Men are always like, oh, I don't want to be just like a checked box and she'll take anyone. But it's also kind of like this thing where, well, I have to go home. Like that's kind of that's what makes women feel the need to do that, because they're just like, I need just like a presentable thing so that people just shut the fuck up and stop asking me.
They're looking.
This thing.
I got a whole group of people that want to see the boxes checked. They're asking to see these literal boxes checked.
Right,
so
it's a lot of pressure.
I want to hear what you think about this conversation. My dad goes, so what's going on with the women? I go, nothing. I go, nothing's going on. And he goes, I'm trying to remember the conversations exactly because I want to hear how you would react to this conversation.
Okay.
He goes, 2 years. Nothing going on. Starting to think it's you.
Starting to think it's you.
Starting.
Wow. And
I
that
said,
didn't,
we're there,
that
bitch.
didn't bother you. That didn't bother you.
I mean, I go, it is a little me. Yeah, I think I'm a part of this problem. I go, like, I don't, there's nothing. Like, I think anyone who would deny that is delusional.
Right.
Like, I'm a part of this. There's two people.
Yeah, you're not going around saying there's just no attractive available women in New York City.
Right.
Yes.
There's none there. Which some women do say that. And let me tell the women out there,
men. Yes.
you sound like an idiot. You sound delusional. You sound like you sound stupid when you say that. Like, because you hear that a lot. There's no men in New York. What? Well, what city
in
are
New
there?
York City?
Right.
Where there's, I don't know, how many million people live in New York City?
Right. When you say things
Many
like
million.
that, exactly, you sound bad. So I was like, yeah, I'm a part of this issue. And then I just was like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I was like, and I say to my dad, I'm like, I'm fine, obviously. But
right.
I do also try to say something along the lines of, I try to come back at them. I'm like, yeah, I'm afraid of showing them you two.
That's good. I don't want to end up like you.
Right.
That's what I used to say to my parents.
Right. That, yeah.
My dad would be like, I just wish you'd find someone. And I'm like, Dad, you live alone in this, like.
Look where it got
and you always say you've never been happier. Like, not exactly giving me a glowing recommendation for marriage.
Right.
He talks about my mom like she's Lord Voldemort.
That shrew. I just wish she'd
She was
find
not-
someone.
Right? The worst, ruined my life. Worst decision I ever made. But I just really want, I just want you to be with someone and settled and happy. It's like, do you understand the difference between the things you're saying and what you're actually showing me?
Right. I'm watching both shows right now. I'm seeing both of your shows you're putting on. Yeah.
With my mom, it's like at least she gets married constantly. Like, she's,
right.
Like with her, I'm like, okay, I get you believe in this thing.
I also switched my location to down here. It's something I don't do. When I go on the road, I've switched my location in the past, but I just don't do it. Like here I've done it.
Oh, you did it. How is that working out?
Some of the people and this, I don't know what this sounds like. Some of the people, I can't believe they go into a job every day. There's some people on the apps down here that you're like, you go to an office? Like you do stuff on a day? Like, because it's very Miami. It's
so nice. Yeah.
Also busty and assy. And, like, you're like, I can't believe, like, I don't know. The New York is a different, group.
Right. You're like, oh, it's disgusting out and there's garbage everywhere. I could just, like, there's nothing else to do but go to work.
Right. Well, it's more just the pictures. Like, they're, like, with floss on the bikini, and you go, I can't believe people here have families and friends.
Right. Are you a lawyer?
Right. You went to law school? Holy shit. But it was fine. I got one match the other day, and we exchanged numbers. And can I just say that it doesn't sound...
Do people get annoyed that...
What?
Do people get annoyed that you... Like, the people who live there, I feel like this Thanksgiving would be... If I were lived in South Florida, Thanksgiving or, like, any of those holidays, spring break, Christmas, I would be on guard for people who are just, like, looking to hook up while they're in town.
Well, here's the thing I would say that helps that. And this was my thinking because men are very nice to women who change their locations to a different city, and women are not very nice to men who change their locations to a different city. It's just a different vibe. Yeah. I do think during the holidays, I'm not here to, like, go out. And I think the New York to Southern Florida pipeline is as much like a public bus system as any pipeline could get. Like, to me, dating someone here is better than Hoboken.
Right. Well, it's not like you're, it's like it's on the other side of the world.
Right. And especially like a lot of the people here are like very connected to New York, it feels like.
So would you date someone who lived in South Florida? Seriously?
I think I would, but it would have to really knock me over the head. Like I liked it would really, and so
you should put that in your bio, so they know what they're getting.
Well, I guess that's the issue with changing my location. It's like I'm really throwing a Hail Mary here in my mind because I mean I have dated people down here and it just didn't go that way. So and the distance wasn't the excuse, but the distance became a part of like I'm not there, so I need to like bow out.
Well, we say this a lot. It's kind of like if it's fine and there's also the distance thing, then yeah, obviously it's like a very easy thing to push you to the no edge.
You nailed it. You said it better than I could ever say. You're right. And if it's great, but you're like, and then you have this moment where you go, well, I'm looking for great, so why wouldn't I try?
Right.
Why not give it a shot for one night while I'm in bed at my parents', pool house, take a few swipes.
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with that as long as you are open, theoretically, if it was an incredible connection, to making it work.
Absolutely. Do we want to get into this show? We vamped.
Yeah, let's do it. So we are starting with Bumble's dating trend survey, which basically shows their predictions for dating in 2023 based on a survey of their users. And also we at the UA podcast on the UA podcast Instagram did our own survey to see how those compared to the Bumble stats.
Right. What did you think overall of this survey? The fact that it's coming from Bumble, which it's in their best interest to have good data these days.
You got to see who's paying for the
right.
data. Yeah.
You got to see who's paying for that data, and then you can make it look however you want. Like, and also we are way more like when they talk about how exit polling is like bullshit now. Like at the polls, like when people vote, like none of the polls, no one trusts the voting data, which over the last 8 years has proven to be correct. You should untrustable. So
well, here's another thing about data. Or data, I don't know whichever you prefer. I did in school. I was a big nerd. I was participating in a lot of research studies. Learned all about the research method, and these studies, even on our own Instagram polls, there's this thing called the selection bias, which is basically like just by nature of being someone who participates in surveys, you're skewing the data because For instance, let's just pull a random stat they have here. Ready? 52% of respondents set more boundaries over the past year. And 63% of the people who answered our poll said they're setting more boundaries. If I'm someone who doesn't give a shit about boundaries or isn't even thinking about them, I'm certainly not opting into the Bumble year-end poll. Right. Nor maybe I'm more likely to do probably the Instagram poll because I literally just click it and move on. But if I'm someone who's as opposed to, I'm someone who's very interested in the nature of boundaries and very interested in how this affects that, I'm much more likely to take a poll. Right.
The serial killer doesn't say, yeah, I just killing. I don't know, that might
They're not answering the survey.
They're not answering the survey. Yeah, the fuck boys aren't going, oh, let me get into this Bumble poll and see if I'm setting more boundaries or not. Yeah. And, as far as our Instagram page is concerned, you have to be following a dating podcast Instagram page. You have interest in the topic. You're interested in thinking about your boundaries.
Yes. So this does not a perfect sample make.
Yes. And this is my point, is the male ones I don't buy one fucking bit. I don't know what to be taken from the male ones. Can we read them just to read what some of the male polls are?
Yes. Okay. So 70%, 74% of men on Bumble say that they've examined their behavior more over the last year. Okay.
What are we talking about? Yes, of course. Everyone examines their behavior. I like,
especially everyone who takes a survey.
Right. Right. I've been thinking a lot about the last year of dating, and yeah, I guess I shouldn't have kept going out with that woman I didn't think would turn into a relationship. Yeah, good point.
Yeah, in hindsight. Anyway, 52% are actively challenging stereotypes that suggest men should not show emotions. I like how it's kind of like the same exact, even though we have the survey data, it's still basically like exactly almost 50-50.
Right. And I don't even, it's almost too vague. Challenging stereotypes that suggest men should not show emotions. Like, I'd rather see, have you cried from being dumped in the last year? Have you cried from ending a relationship last? You know what I mean? Like, wouldn't more
Have you cried in front of a significant other? Have you cried in front of someone you were dating?
Right.
That's a much better answer. Yeah.
Like, to me, a poll like this, and 38% of men now speak more openly about how they're feeling with their male friends. 49% of men agreeing that breaking gender roles in dating and relationships is beneficial for them too. And it's like that type of stuff. You go, is this just propaganda to encourage women to stay on the apps?
Right. I mean, yeah. It's definitely you have to look at
it's
who's
not
paying
that
for it.
bad. Men are thinking.
They're changing, yeah. And it's funny because in our poll where we give an extra response, we asked the same question about breaking gender roles, and 52% agreed, 7% disagreed, and 41% haven't really thought about it.
That means 90% haven't thought about it. That means
yes.
To me, like, this question only occurs to you until you're asked it. It's not like you're like I don't even know what the gender roles are at this point. I guess, is it a man being the breadwinner? I guess that's one of them.
Well, here's what I think the actual difference is. If I had to guess, again, not based on the data, based on my own feeling about the people, the general results of the data, which again, I think are skewed. But I would say the general conversation in the last few years, and we've talked about this too, is about like men being, more open to therapy, communication generally. There's a lot more resources, or like, and the other thing about, post Me Too era is like, it's not really acceptable socially, even if you think it, to be like, I'm just looking to fuck.
Right.
Like, that's not maybe, I don't know if that was ever a fully socially acceptable stance, but I think it definitely used to be a more socially acceptable stance than it is right now. And so even if men aren't, I'm sure there has to be an effect of that. I'm sure there has to be, at least maybe in part, some sort of internal change in the way that men are thinking about sex and dating and relationships and showing emotions. And there's also the change in the way they know they're supposed to think. Well, so that's the other part of it.
My takeaway, I agree with what you're saying. My takeaway from this, I think if you did this poll 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I think it'd get the same breakdown. I actually don't think it would have changed much. I think it's to let women know they're not that stupid. Like,
men aren't that stupid.
Men aren't that stupid. Stop making excuses like they don't know what gender roles are, and that they don't know that, like, that they have no idea that women are on a dating app to date. But I was here to fuck. Because we get those emails, I don't know what he's here for, and women tiptoe around a lot of like the conversation that is being had in the margins that men know they're having.
Right.
Like
especially with TikTok.
What's that?
That should be a question. Have you cried into your TikTok video in the past year?
Yeah. Have you called ending on a third date traumatic? Because I do think what we get a lot, and like I think what we've answered to is like, no, I know third date means we might hook up. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's like one of those things. Right. I'm using that as an example because it's like one of those things that's like, it's the unsaid. It's the ooey gooey, icky stuff that you're like, I think we're going to hook up. I don't know. It's third date. We've gone on 2 good dates. If this one goes well, maybe he'll invite me over. Maybe I'll say no. Maybe I'm not comfortable yet. Maybe we should like let each other. And it's like, Men know that too. We know the unsaid as well. And I think that when I saw these percentages, I'm like, yeah, I guess anyone answering at all means they know what's happening.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a selection bias. It's not like literally you're getting into their brains and you're finding out the true answers of a random group of people, which is like a true randomized gold standard research-based test.
But also, no guy read, men agreeing that breaking gender roles and dating and relationships is beneficial for them too. No guy read that sentence and was like, what the fuck are they talking about? What's a gender? No one's playing stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that guy exists, but again, he's not taking the Bumble survey.
He's not taking the Bumble, and he's not most of the people you're dating. He's not the guy you got off of the app with to go on a date with.
What do you think of this money part?
The money part was
find
interesting.
that's true? They said money will be less of a taboo date topic because 28% of people report that they're setting financial boundaries in their dating lives. They might be having conversations about what people are comfortable spending. 32% of people are less impressed by over-the-top first dates. Less impressed than when, I'm wondering.
Right.
And 57% of people are more interested in casual dates than something fancy. It sounds like all guys who are going through those recession layoffs.
Well, I think during times of economic strife, money becomes you're allowed for more. I think
right. We didn't even like the fancy dates.
Yeah, right. Who wants to go to the Ritz?
Right.
I think right now, financially it's tough for a lot of people, and I also don't think it was like as to the moon as everyone described. I think our generation, especially millennials who got hit with financial downturn, two different financial crises. I don't think millennials have ever felt financially secure.
Yeah.
Generally. And so I think if you take that into account, and I think Gen Z is even more aware of, financial stuff and especially the way they attack social media as a real job. It seems as though they are aware of my time is money,
yeah. Cause they work for themselves. A lot of them.
Right.
But I guess to just throw all the data from these bias surveys out the window.
Throw the data out the door.
Yes. You, as someone who's been dating for a long time, right?
Okay.
It was
a long, weary time. Just ask my dad. 2 years. Must be something wrong with me.
I mean, you've had relationships.
Yes.
Obviously over the years, but you've been also and I think that's almost like the point. You've dated before your relationship. You've dated after your relationship.
Right.
Do you feel like there is any sort of real shift that's meaningful that you've seen anecdotally in any of these spheres, or not really?
I think there's a shift. I mean, what I was saying before, I think there, I guess I can speak for myself personally, and I guess my, take that for what it is, but I always have said that I'm 10% away at least from someone you're dating, right?
Right.
I don't think I'm 100% away. I think the idea that, when people are like, what have you learned from the podcast and doing this with you, is this isn't all, dating isn't just fun. And I think that's more of an age shift.
Okay.
I think my friends who got married at 27 talk about dating like it's this fun whatever. And the women too. They all, it was so much fun, hilarious.
Right.
And the ones that get married at 35 aren't talking about it that way.
Yeah, because those are people where when they were dating, the stakes of dating were different.
They were changing. Yeah. So I think I do think a lot of these things, the age of the person answering matters way more. The idea that I think a guy 25, it's fun and games. Who cares? If it doesn't work out, we'll go to the next thing. Whatever. And then 30 is, you're kind of everyone's getting married, but whatever, and then, I'll get there in a year. And then 37 rolls around and your dad's looking at you being like, is the problem you? And you're like, I don't know, maybe it is. Yeah, of course it's me. So I think a lot of these shifts I noticed from 22 to 37 more than I would notice them as far as like 2020. I mean, but
Right.
also I
The
have to
times
admit,
they are changing. Yeah.
right. I don't know if like a 25-year-old is sitting there, and that's not to say you won't find a 25-year-old who's uber aware, but I don't think that that's changing, especially when I walk up and down Hudson Street in New York City and see the the packs of 25-year-old men. They don't look like they're wondering about gender roles.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the more things change, the more they stay the same in some ways.
Mhm.
So
Yeah,
Anyway.
there was another one that I really liked in here. I wanted to hear your thoughts on. The physical preferences will look different.
okay.
38% are now more open to dating beyond their typical physical type. From our poll, 46% open to dating beyond their type. 28% are less concerned about dating the type of person that others expect. 63% of daters are now looking for emotional maturity before physical looks. 96% of our polls picked emotional maturity over looks.
Okay.
Do you think that's a bullshit stat?
I think people know what the right answer is.
I
right?
agree.
Everyone knows you're supposed to pick emotional maturity over physical looks. That's like every tale as old as time. Every movie, everything is like the lesson is, what's inside matters. Like whatever. I also think 90%, maybe more of our audience is female. And so I think that's a more common female idea, especially as you get older, than it is for men. I don't find many men who are like, now that I'm older, I value looks less.
Right. And that's the thing we have to. I just don't like what this tries to present to people that we're changing. Here's the thing. You decide if they're hot or not to you, and then you go, I hope they're emotionally mature.
Yes.
That's the
usually
order.
second. Yes.
That's the
even If you
order.
even if you won't admit that.
Right. Or maybe you're a better person than us. Fine. I just don't believe you.
I
Right?
don't think so. I mean, otherwise, here's the thing. If that's not the case, get a friend. Live with a friend.
Right.
Spend your whole life with a friend. I think we can't it feels like the right thing to say, who cares what they look like? I just want them to be emotionally mature. I have many friends who are emotionally mature. We could all get a house and just live our days
Right.
together. It's
it's
if you're looking for companionship, yes, emotional maturity.
Just
But a big part of dating is sex.
right.
As we'll
right.
get to in our Sunday special.
Just imagine you're at a dinner party with your significant other, and someone's like, "What made you know they were the one?" And you're like, "Well, I was so unattracted." But they were just pretty emotionally mature. How would you feel hearing that? Bad.
I wouldn't feel great. How would you feel?
Horrible. I've dated people where they always do this thing. I wasn't into them at first. I didn't really like Jared at first. Oh, he wasn't hot to me.
No
Shut
one
the fuck
says
up.
that. No one says that about women.
No.
No man has ever said that about his wife. I
Never.
wasn't into her. I was not into her physically at first.
I don't like when it's said about me. So,
Well,
I don't have the same body type as my dad. Okay.
now we know.
Let's do some awkward sex. You ready?
Let's do it.
Can I give some live dates? I'm going on the road.
Of
We're
course.
taping this special. I'm doing New York City shows all over the city. By this time, Jordana, you'll have seen the set. You'll have sat in the wings of the theater with a pen and paper and glasses
Yes.
on. The producer
very excited.
extraordinaire.
I'm coming to see the preview.
Yes, the preview. I'm going to be
I'm
in
going to hold
Virginia
up a
Beach.
notepad with a 1 through 10 rating and then every joke.
And then next to you is my dad with a 1 through 10 rating of my body.
It's like true Miss America.
Yes, talent, physical, the bathing suit competition. Okay, I'm going to be in San Diego for New Year's Eve. So if you're out there and you want to spend New Year's Eve with your dear old Papa J Train, coming out. Houston, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Toronto, we're adding a third show. Vegas, Perrysburg, Ohio, Irvine, Oklahoma City. Okay, let's do some awkward sex. You ready?
Let's do it.
Jared and Jordana. I've been an avid listener for almost 2 years, and I knew it was time to write in after hearing your call to arms for more awkward sex stories. Here she is. I am known amongst my friends for having some incredibly awkward, borderline unbelievable dating and hookup scenarios, this one being especially popular. A few years ago, I was home for the winter holidays and reunited with high school friends for a night out. My friends' parents kept their yacht in the marina downtown.
That sounds fun.
And we went aboard for a nightcap. Can you imagine?
Is it a yacht or a catamaran?
Wow. They said yacht. I mean,
I know. I went on Yacht Week. I can tell you it was not I said I went on Yacht Week. I can tell you it was not a yacht. It was a catamaran.
That's in, where's that?
I went on the one in Thailand.
The Thailand Yacht Week.
Back in the day.
More a canoe week.
Yes. False advertising. Sorry. Anyway.
That doesn't get me to, Canoe Week doesn't get me to Thailand. I'm not taking that flight.
Only.
Okay, so my friends kept their yacht in the marina downtown, and we went aboard for a nightcap. We were there for about 10 minutes before he kindly asked us to leave because his long-distance girlfriend was trying to FaceTime him, presumably for phone sex. Lucky for us, there was a guy, John, on the adjacent yacht who was drinking alone after what looked like a wild party. Okay. You can't just jump on someone's boat and go, like, you
maybe
putting
that's
yourself
boat
in
culture.
It is boat culture.
I guess in a group, probably good. In a solo, you could probably get killed and dropped into the middle of the ocean.
Right. This guy John, he asked if we wanted to join him in being boat hose. We eagerly agreed. We hit it off.
Boat hose.
And after about an hour left, we hit it off. And after about an hour, my friends left. So John and I headed to the front deck, where a heavy makeout quickly ensued. Before I knew it, our clothes were off, and we were butt-ass naked having sex on the bow in the middle of a crowded marina. This person's knowledge of boat words is second to none.
Yeah. I don't know any of this shit. This is not... Jews aren't that knowledgeable about boats.
No.
We'll throw that out there.
Ain't no boats in Boca. Or there is.
Really?
Yeah. No, there is. Where
You're
I'm
not driving them. Yeah.
No. After a while, we headed below to the cabin to continue hooking up. John vaguely mentioned his dad and brother were passed out downstairs, but I didn't pay much attention. The sex was awesome, and I had a great time until the next morning when the cabin door abruptly flew open and I heard his dad yell, "I don't know who the hell she is, but she needs to go now."
What a way to
Is
wake
there a more
up.
boat dad sentence?
Right?
I don't
Off the boat. All right.
Okay. I just imagine like what's it called? The like from The Millionaire and his wife from Gilligan's Island.
Oh yeah.
I don't know who the hell she is, but this peasant needs to go. Like,
yeah.
Mortified and buried under the covers, I kicked John, who had not woken up despite the noise. His dad left to give us privacy, and we quickly got dressed. Turns out it was the master cabin, a.k.a. his dad's bed. Quick side note. This was peak girl boss era. Jordana, when was peak girl boss era?
2014.
Okay.
Maybe.
I forgot.
Like,
I guess I went to bed and missed all those pantsuits walking around.
You missed all the surveys about girl bossiness and how much you respect women.
I forgot. I was in my early 20s working in a male-dominated industry trying to fit in. I found that my professional mannerisms often spilled into my personal social life. The most memorable and embarrassing was in the next few moments. Following John, I shakily climbed the stairs in my wedges to the galley. Again, she knows these words. The galley where his dad and brothers sat at the dining table. I watched in slow motion as my arm extended out to shake his dad's hand. Maybe I was trying to show respect, so cringy. I think his dad was as shocked as I was. He's like, I don't touch these paws.
She's trying to like introduce herself. Oh my god!
Right. You just touched my son's dick. Get that hand out of my face.
Get off my boat.
Right. I think his dad was as shocked as I was, and the memory of his brother watching wide-eyed and trying desperately to hold back laughter is forever burned in my brain, LOL. Unfortunately, there was one final awkward moment, since it was now low tide.
Okay.
And we were floating about 3 feet lower than the dock. I have zero upper body strength, but sheer humiliation propelled me to climb my way up to the dock and scurry away. I was staying with my parents for the holiday, who thought I was at a girlfriend's house and absolutely would have questioned why their daughter was coming home that early in the morning. To avoid suspicion, I sat on a nearby park bench, stalling for about an hour and a half, enjoying the sunrise as I waited to call a ride-share home.
I have to say, I hope that I raise a daughter who feels comfortable coming home at whatever time in the morning and doesn't feel the need to sit on a park bench until I feel like she thinks I feel it's socially acceptable.
Get in here, shower up, clean that fucking rich dude off of you, and get into bed.
Yeah. Clean
off Richie Rich and get in here. Like, also, sitting on the bench, I just imagine people driving by being like, oh, that's where the boat people put their prostitutes in the morning to catch the bus.
That's what I would think.
John and I continued talking for the rest of the holidays, even met up a second time. We decided to keep our second sexcapade on dry land and christened the marina lobby couch instead. They're still doing it everywhere. P.S. Happy anniversary, appropriate that a 5-year anniversary is commemorated with wood.
Awkward sex. There you go.
There it is. Hope you find a way to work some penis puns in your milestone celebration. Love you forever. Bowing out gracefully, Betch. What do you think, Jordana?
I am also impressed with her boat knowledge. I think there's a boat community who know all this shit.
If you live in a neighborhood that has a marina in the neighborhood, you know aft and Starside and knots and shit.
I have to say, bold move of this guy to bring a girl onto his dad's boat while he's sleeping there and sleep in his dad's bed.
Yeah, why isn't the guy at fault for this at all?
Right? If I would, the person who should be embarrassed to go home would be the guy.
Right.
Right?
It sounds like the dad is divorced and living on his own boat.
And the kids are just staying with him on the boat?
Right. And he has lost
He calls it a yacht.
Yacht. Sorry. I mean, for it to have a dining room table, it's got to be it's no catamaran.
That's true. And a master bedroom, I guess, where the dad is sleeping.
Right.
But if I were the dad, I'd be way more angry.
I'd be angry at everyone.
Like, imagine you bringing home a woman to your parents' bed in their house in Boca.
While they were here?
That's
crazy.
That'd be crazy.
It's also crazy. Where was he sleeping? Like, the dad's a sad soul. The dad's passed out on the couch, drunk, divorced, alone.
Yeah, was he there the whole night? He came home late?
That's the thing. She said they were passed out when they got back, so they went to the master bedroom. It's like, dad's has an issue.
Dad has a lot of issues, yeah. I'd call this Below Dick. You ever seen Below Deck?
It's perfect.
Boats and Hose.
Boats and Hoses is great.
What do you have?
I liked some of Maddie's. Abandoned Ship. Land Ho.
Land Ho, that's good.
Caught on the Yacht. I couldn't. I kept thinking of Below Dick. It's so good.
I watch a lot of Below Deck Med.
Yeah.
And,
people love that show.
It's great.
Red flag or deal breaker, the dad kicks you off of the guy's boat.
If it's his dad's bed, I'm more mad at the guy. But actually, I guess he's like, I secured us the primary suite. Like, it's more his issue with his own dad.
Right. He got the good bed on the boat.
Yeah. I think I'd be fine with it. What about you?
I have a name for it.
Let's hear it.
I have to sing it.
Okay, let's hear it.
A 3-hour whore.
That's very good.
And I mean that in a loving way. We love the emailer. I'm happy for her.
Together very well. Yes, right. I'm happy for her too. I wish she would go home.
Go
That's my
home.
only-
Well, this was
yeah.
years ago. That's the height of her girl boss era. She wanted to.
Yes.
She didn't want to get her pantsuit dirty. She didn't want
That's the most girl boss move ever. You went out,
Right.
you had fun, you came home.
walk in, kick the door open. What are you doing home so early? Crushing that dick. Getting
Girl
that boat
boss.
dick. Yeah.
Hashtag girl boss. Hashtag.
Right.
Hashtag grinding.
Right. Crushing the patriarchy.
Exactly.
That's what I'm doing.
All right, let's do another email.
Let's do
I'll
it.
read it.
Go for it.
Hey J&J, love the pod, even though I'm one of those unsexy teachers Jared loves. Jared just threw up a little bit. Being that I'm a teacher and I live and work in the beautiful suburbs outside Toronto, a 40-minute train ride and an hour by car without traffic, I'm in my 30s and I'm trying to date intentionally. However, I find that the pool of eligible men in my area is getting lower and lower as they all seem to be married or taken in this area. My question is something that you have kind of talked about before, but the young single professionals seem to live in the cities and they have very small dating ranges on their apps. I don't want to hoodfish, as Jared says, and lie in my dating app about where I live, but I also don't seem to be going on many dates when I keep my KMs to my neighborhood. What is a KM?
Kilometers.
Oh,
This is coming from
kilometers.
north of the border.
Oh, wow.
We've
KMs,
gone international.
Wow, I just see. I knew it. I knew that. Ish. So, what's a girl to do?
I can't think
move
so. I can't think so highly of myself. I just sang a 3-hour whore. So
I mean, that was pretty. That was quick-witted and
Thank you.
Pretty good tones. All right.
Oh,
So what- He's like, I'll give you some tones. Okay. What's a girl to do? I can't move schools without losing all my seniority, so moving isn't an option. Do I change my locations? Do I rent an apartment in the city for a month and go on as many days as I can? Or do I wait it out and see if I can find the diamond in the two-car garages of my neighborhood? Would love to hear your thoughts, Suburban Betch.
this is a relatable issue to many that listen to this podcast.
Yes.
And I know this. I went out recently with an old friend who recently divorced, living in the suburbs.
Okay.
And I said to them, I go, how do you
How do
date?
you meet people?
How do you?
Yeah.
And they go, there's a bar in our town, but like, those are the same olds, and it's hard. He was saying how hard it was because you gotta, like, if you have a date, you gotta come into town. You gotta, like, make your night, and you don't know. And there's this element of worth it, not worth it, that I totally understand as someone who won't fucking go 10 feet myself. So
Go to Hoboken, yeah.
teachers in Hoboken. So
Yeah,
So what
it's
do
a dilemma.
it's a dilemma. What do you think?
Well, I mean, let me ask you as the dater, if someone let's say someone did hoodfish you, right?
Yeah.
And then you went on the date. They're like, I actually live in the suburbs. I'm sorry to have to do this. I know it's kind of annoying, and I'm always open to coming into the city. But the people in my neighborhood, there's just very little people to date in my neighborhood, and I come in all the time. And
If anyone's
Would you be,
watching on
like,
YouTube
mad?
right now, they just watch me eye roll so bad because this is something that people in the suburbs do. I'm in the city all the time. No, it's still, and I know this sounds bad, but it still becomes the responsibility of the person in the city. Like, I feel like I gotta tote them around. I feel like I gotta, like, make sure that this it becomes like planning a vacation. Like,
it's a long distance, longer
It's
distance anyway.
right? I think dating someone in Miami would be easier than dating someone on Long Island.
Why?
It's like, when people would go to college and when I went to college, I wanted to be far enough away from my family that I had to know they were coming.
Right. They couldn't just pop in.
Can't just pop it. And it's a little on that in that world, because it's not about that they're too close and they could pop in any time. It's that they're close enough that there's no casualness enough to it.
You have to be in or out.
You got to be in or out. I got to be like,
But isn't that a
there's
good thing?
no like, hey, what's that?
Isn't that a good thing?
I guess, but I
you?
think early on is what you get turned off by, because it's like this idea. It's always the responsibility of the person in the city and not the person outside of the city. When I hear that, it's always like, when I hear I'm in town all the time, it gets me frustrated because I'm like, okay,
But
so
by
my
saying
couch.
that, they're making it their responsibility, though, by saying like I'm in and I'm out, and like this isn't on you.
But it sounds like that, but they're not, because they're like, well, you have to say no to it. You have to cancel it. You have to say you can't do your couch tonight. It's never their couch. It's never let's go for dinner in your neighborhood. It's never let's get drinks at your favorite place. It's all my hometown that they are really comfortable in and have a chance to judge, so it's not even that special.
But aren't you making an assumption that they're going to be acting like that?
Yes, absolutely. I'm saying this is what I get hit with, oh, I'm out of town, but I'm there all the time. That's my first initial. I'm not saying it's right. I'm saying that's the feeling I get.
To bring this full circle, isn't that exactly what you'd be doing by matching with someone on the apps in Boca?
So I guess the difference to me with Boca is like we go out here, and then I guess I'm kind of stuck. The idea
And then they come visit you in New York, or you go visit them there, and then
the visit is a beginning.
I'm here all the time.
Well, not I'm here all the time. It's like now we've made a legitimate hey, that was so much fun. I want you to come to New York. And I want to see what a weekend is like together, or you're going to stay with your friends and we're going to plan this out. I know this, I'm having trouble explaining it because it does sound hypocritical, and I agree it's a bit hypocritical, but it's also it's this idea that, sometimes I'm like, how do women have this much energy for dating?
I mean, how do men have this much energy for anything? For working, for fantasy football, for some people work constantly.
Right.
And they love it.
Right.
For the right person.
For the right person. I'm in the city all the time. I don't know. It feels like too much. My suggestion of this person, if I were them, girls' night.
Oh, you're saying don't lie, but just go out with someone who assumes you live in the city.
Plan a night in the city, because now I can't make those assumptions. Because I was thinking of I do get this hypocritical tinge. I'll admit it. When I hear on the dating app, I'm here all the time, I want to take the phone and throw it in the river.
Okay.
I do think that this person is better off getting numbers while out at bars with their friends and going out with friends and going to nicer establishments, going to hotel bars and high-end restaurants and a little bit higher planning a night where you're going to be in a certain neighborhood and you're going to go from bar to bar and being open to meeting guys. And guys love watching a girls' night, love approaching a girls' night.
Okay.
I think that's more helpful for them than, hey, so I'm 40 miles away, and the bus gets me in around 2.
That's fair. So you're saying it's not necessarily the issue that she can still date guys who live in the city.
Yes.
You're just saying don't deceive them. Instead, just be in the city and meet them in the city.
Let's do 2 months, two weekends a month, 2 Saturdays a month.
Right. And then it's also true that you are in the city all the time.
Right. Stop making it, because this is. Thank you for saying it that way, because what ends up happening is I'll come whenever you want. It's now I got to be responsible for this whole fucking thing. And it's not I'm always in the city. I'm in the city on Saturday night. Make a plan for that. But I think you need someone to I think guys need to feel they've caught the fish. And they need to feel like they've hunted you. And you are more likely to get a guy who meets you in a bar, gives you his number, has a nice conversation to go, I don't care where you're coming from. You're here on 2 Saturdays. Make a plan for next Saturday when I'm here. That'll be more helpful than the route they're going. I think it's a better route.
That's fair.
Right?
All right. Yeah, I think we found the solution for this listener.
You ready for some games?
Let's do it.
I'll read the first one. Red flag deal breaker.
Okay.
I have a red flag deal breaker situation for you that I need some input on. I met this guy at a party about a month ago. Really hit it off. We spent the whole rest of the day and night together after the party, meeting his friends, going home together. We were pretty drunk, but I do feel like we made a genuine connection. This weekend, we went on an actual drinks date, which was really fun. I went back to his place and slept over again. I was excited to get a text from him after I had left, saying he hoped my breakfast was better than the pizza we had. The only problem is, at no point this weekend or the day we first met did we have pizza. To me, classic mistake. To me, this means he has confused our date with an outing with another girl. I have no evidence to confirm this, but seems like the most logical explanation. So red flag or deal breaker. Your date sends you a text implying they are confusing you with some other girl. This isn't a deal breaker for me, but it did upset me because we otherwise had a great time. Thanks for all you do and any insight. Sincerely, a frustrated bitch. What do you think?
My first thought was like maybe there was just like a miscommunication.
Right.
And he meant something that he didn't.
It is a wild blunder. She says, because I reread it too, because when she writes, I was excited to get a text from him after I had left. Like, for him to like mess that up is crazy.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking like I would give him the benefit of the doubt and assume, or if I were you, I'd be like, I would have immediately said, LOL, what do you mean? What pizza?
Right, me too. What pizza?
I'm surprised she just like went along with it. Because maybe she just, this happens a lot, especially in early dating when everyone's trying to be like clever or like make a joke. And sometimes it just doesn't always land or the person's like very confused. Especially if you have like two kind of like sarcastic people.
Right.
I don't really know. I'm not really sure if we're on the same page anymore or like you're confused. I would have given him the benefit of the doubt, asked him to clarify. And I also think worst case scenario, this woman's right. And he did have pizza with another girl and then brought it up to you, even though you just seen each other the night before. You went on one date, 2 dates, whatever it was.
Worst case scenario, he's texting you. Like,
right.
I don't know. I get the grossness of it, but it's also like, I was, Jordana, we were on the same wavelength because I was like, this feels like he said something that sounded like it was in the right tune, but he forgot the words that were in the music, you know?
A joke that like didn't land or something because
something is afoot because it doesn't, based on the timeline that we are given here, he would really have to fuck that up or have short-term memory loss.
Yeah, because it's not like he was like, oh, like referring to your job at like this place when you actually don't work there at all. Like this seems like it could have. I think this one's explainable. I think it's weirder that she just like was like so angry and didn't ask to clarify. Why wasn't she just like, LOL, what?
I would have definitely, and it's like you're setting yourself up for a bad future in this relationship. Like, get it out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's weird that she didn't go. Like, how do you say nothing?
Yeah, my favorite thing to say in those, especially over text again when things get, I'd be like, LOL, I'm confused. Did we have pizza? It doesn't have to be like, when was the pizza? When was the pizza? Like, I don't know. Like, or like, that wasn't me, asshole. Like, you could just say,
that's
like, you
exactly
make it
how
like,
I said it.
Right.
When was the motherfucking pizza? I'm calling Domino's. I'm calling every Domino's in the surrounding area. And if I find out you were with another woman, we're done. Like,
yeah, just ask in a joking way.
Right, I'm with you. Not a problem.
Not an issue. All right, red flag or deal breaker. They ask how your day was. You say it was bad, chaotic, weird, whatever your choice for not good is. And they don't ask you about it. They move on to the next topic. Okay.
That is absolutely bizarre. Like,
it would depend on the
Jordana, how
context.
was your day? Say it was a bad day. How was your day, Jordana?
Awful.
So what are you doing this weekend? Like, how do you even do that?
That is weird. That is weird. I
right?
mean, I think it would depend on the severity of the word you used. I guess.
Okay. Hey, I had a bad day. Could you ignore it?
The only reason I would ignore it, I think there's one caveat to it not being weird and rude to ignore it, is if I'm about to see you. because then I might
because
ask
then
in
we
person.
can address it in person.
Yeah, where I'm like, oh, like I can't really be texting that much right now. I'm gonna see you like later tonight. I'll just ask you about it at that point.
But that's even asking about it. Like,
Yeah,
they're in their scenario. Hey, I had a bad day. Cool. So what's up for this week? Like, it does.
no, I agree. It comes off very. It would definitely be at the very least a red flag. The only thing that would make it just a red flag, not a deal breaker, is if they never brought it up again.
So I don't know what they said. They don't ask about it. So if someone said to me, I've had a chaotic day, I'd be like, oh, that's horrible. Yeah, my day's been pretty chaotic too. Like I could see how that would be my response to that.
Yeah, totally. I think chaotic is also not necessarily like negative. Like I've had a very busy day. Do you have to ask about that? Tell me everything you did. What made it so busy?
I got the time. Yeah, I don't know. This is very much they group together bad, chaotic, weird, whatever your choice for not good is. That is a little bit more of a spectrum than they're really admitting to.
For sure. And it's also kind of like I can also see someone almost being like they're about to ask you on a second date and they want to just get to it. Like, how was your day? Ugh, it was terrible. Oh, that sucks. Are you free tomorrow? Like they're texting you with a purpose.
Right. That sucks is an acknowledgement. Like,
that's true. Even though they're not like, what happened?
Right. Oh, that sucks. Because some people wouldn't feel comfortable. If someone was like, I've had the worst day, I've been on 2 dates with them, I'd be like, I'm sorry to hear that. So what are you watching on TV tonight to feel better? Like, that would be my...
Especially if I hadn't gone on that's another thing. We haven't gone on the date yet, but we're about to.
I don't give a shit.
Right? I don't care how you are. I don't care. Well, that's the other thing. I don't care how your weekend was.
Right. I'm trying to get to my date.
Yeah. All right, let's do one more.
One more. Hi, Jordana and Jared. Kind of newish listeners about 6 months ago, but I quickly became a subscriber. Thank you. Working my way through the old episodes. Love the podcast and all your great advice. I thought of a good red flag or deal breaker based on some convos I have had with my friend group. We're all women in our early 30s. Half of us are very open about stomach stuff, and other half are horrified by us. We think bathroom humor is funny and all have been in relationships where we are comfortable talking with our partners about it. I grew up in a family who openly farted, pooped with the door open. A bunch of pigs.
Disgustings.
Talk about disgustings.
Yeah. I hope they're not. I hope your parents aren't hosting Thanksgiving.
Right. I mean, this sentence. I grew up in a family who openly farted, pooped with the door open, never washed our hands, shit our pants sometimes.
Had rats running around the floors.
Every now and again, we do a snot rocket on the living room floor. No, I've never found this weird. Some of my friends have never spoken about poop or farted in front of their live-in boyfriends' husbands and vice versa. And this is unbelievable to me. They think we're gross for being open with each other, never mind a guy. I'm a firm believer in normalizing. The minute you get to the word normalizing for something like this,
yes.
It's like you've gone a step too far. You're defending shit too much.
Yeah, you've put the like again the indefensible word behind it. Like normalize whatever. Like fine, normalize everything. Sure.
Yeah, everything's normal. I'm a firm believer in normalizing bodily functions with a partner. This is what you believe in?
It's a one issue platform.
Right.
She's running for president.
As president, we will normalize taking a pee-pee poo-poo in front of your boo. There's inevitably going to be a point where someone gets sick and you shouldn't have to bear the embarrassment of admitting you have to. This is going on and on. Have to have diarrhea on top of feeling like death. Among many other reasons, I feel like it is a level of intimacy necessary for me to personally to feel comfortable in my relationship.
I like how she's like, if I can't shit while you watch me, I don't feel like I can truly be myself. I can't take a shit with the door open. This is never gonna work.
Hey, like I agree with when you agree with someone, you're like, just shut the fuck up.
Right. It's like in moderation.
Right. Like I agree with the sentiment, but this person is on paragraph 3. I would never be with someone that I couldn't lay next to them and whisper into their ear, hey.
Rubbing my poop all over them.
That was a wet one. Rubbing poop on them. I just don't know who could be in a relationship where you couldn't talk about how little, corn kernels were in your poop. You should have, and then she writes, you should not have to have a debilitating stomachache. Yeah, it both can be true. From holding in your farts in your own house. Just saying. This is their words.
I'm almost more worried that she's written out this list of things that she seems like happen to her fairly regularly than what her actual point is.
Yeah, I think it's time to be done with cheese. I could never live with someone who I didn't feel comfortable being open about poop and farts with, and also find it funny. Boy, she's so red flag or deal breaker. This is all to say. Your girlfriend or boyfriend who you live with doesn't find any bathroom humor funny, isn't comfortable with it. I swear this is not my only personal trait, but I'm fascinated by the polarizing opinions of my friend group. LOL. Well, I appreciate this email.
Yes. Thank you for writing in. This is a weird hill to die on for me. Okay. I think to an extent this is correct. Do I believe you should be in a relationship where the man is like, women don't go number two? Like,
right.
No. Yes. Do I believe in a certain level of mystery also in a relationship? I also kind of do. I personally am not peeing or shitting with the door open. I don't really want my partner to be doing that. I think it's okay to have some level of mystery, private time. Like, again, you can have a situation where you're like, I really need to go home now. And we all know what that means. Or you can even say it explicitly. It's not that big of a deal. But I think that, like, I actually do think there's something that, like, isn't a little bit nice about maintaining, like, the sex appeal via not sharing every single thing that you're doing bodily function-wise.
Jordana, I agree with you, and I'm on the other side of the aisle on this. This is where I'm encouraged that our country can get out of this debilitating funk that we're in. The division in this country could be explained through this, because I agree with you and I disagree with you. Like, okay. I think a little fart, but I think you agree with me. A little fart humor, a little poop humor, fun. It can go in moderation. It can go too far. I have been in that relationship where I have been told that they are not having it. Stop. Okay? I've gone too far. I've been that person. So now I had to reel it back. I would say I wouldn't want to date someone where if I farted, they were like, who the fuck did that? Like,
No, I agree. And that's another extreme. That's what I'm saying.
I don't want to be with the extreme.
I think there's a healthy middle ground where, if it happens, if there's a joke here and there, it's funny. But I don't think I'm not personally an advocate of that being like the crux of the humor in the relationship.
Right. Listen, and we can have differing opinions. I will never forget it. Have I told you this story? My family went on a cruise. Okay.
Oh, no.
We took a bus from the cruise ship to the flight. You know, when the cruise ends, everyone's hungover. It's a Sunday morning. And it was our family and another family. And it's like 6 a.m. You know, I'm like 19. I just drank the whole night, waking up early. We're in this bus. We're heading to the airport with this other family. I decide to fart. Okay?
You decide.
I decide.
It's a decision.
I could have held it in. I'm not going to lie to you.
Okay. It was an active decision.
It was an active decision, and I knew it was going to smell. You know when you just know. I thought it was going to be and I'm fake sleeping while this fart gets let out.
And loud?
No. Silent, but deadly.
Okay. Silent.
And
those are the smelliest.
It starts to smell. I'm giggling to myself. I think it's the funniest thing because we're in this bus with no windows. Everyone's hungover, passed out. The dad of the other family freaked out in a way that I had to, like, keep my eyes squinched together. Like, he was like, who the fuck did that? And I'm like, oh, my God. I was like, you know when it, like, offends someone? Like, and
then you're like, oh, I'm definitely not owning up to that now.
Not at all. I could hear it in his voice. I'm like, and he's like, who did it? And I'm like,
Should have pointed to his wife. Should have pointed to his wife.
I've never seen someone as angry in my entire life to this day. So him and I aren't going to be together. But,
fine.
You know, there's got to be a semblance of listen, for a fart joke to work, it has to surprise you. It can't be every day.
That's true. Otherwise, you ruin the joke. You got to save it for the right time. Anyway, that's our show. I think we Anyway, I think we solved dating yet again. We will see you on Sunday for our Sunday special. Happy Thanksgiving, Jared.
Same to you, Jordan.
The U Up podcast is produced by Sean Kilby, Maddie Paul, and Jorge Morales-Pico. Editing by Jorge Morales-Pico. Social media by Maddie Paul. Be sure to follow at u.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.